Have you ever been in a situation where no matter what you say, you feel completely misunderstood? Maybe it's at work, where your ideas are constantly misinterpreted. Or at home, where your intentions are questioned by loved ones. In today's world, with social media amplifying every conversation, misunderstandings happen more frequently, and the frustration of trying to explain yourself can become overwhelming. Being misunderstood can trigger a range of emotions: defensiveness, frustration, even anger. We want to be understood, validated, and appreciated. But what happens when we don't get that? What happens when we feel like we're constantly explaining ourselves, but it still doesn't seem to make a difference? This is where Stoicism offers profound wisdom. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius teach us that we don't have to constantly justify ourselves to others. True dignity comes from within, not from the approval of others. We don't need to defend every action or word. And in fact, by doing so, we often lose our peace and waste valuable energy. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and steadfast, regardless of how others perceive us. As Marcus Aurelius famously said, "I am not obliged to win, but I am obliged to be true." This principle reminds us that our worth and dignity are not contingent on winning others' approval or being understood by everyone. The true challenge is to stay true to our principles, our character, and our purpose, regardless of external misunderstandings. Stay with us through this journey because there's much more to discover. If you know someone who could benefit from this Stoic perspective, share this video with them. Let's reflect on a powerful quote inspired by Marcus Aurelius. "I am not obliged to win, but I am obliged to be true." This quote speaks directly to the heart of being misunderstood. When we are misinterpreted, whether at work, with family, or online, it's easy to fall into the trap of defensiveness. We feel the need to explain ourselves, to win the conversation or make others understand our side. But Marcus reminds us that this is not our true obligation. Our duty is not to ensure that everyone agrees with us, but to remain true to ourselves, our values, our principles, and our integrity. In a world where we're constantly seeking validation and approval from others, Stoicism offers us a refreshing perspective. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to be understood by everyone. The only thing you are obligated to do is stay true to your beliefs and act with dignity, regardless of how others react. Now, think about the last time you were misunderstood. How much energy did you spend trying to explain yourself or convince others of your intentions? How would things change if you focused more on staying true to your own character, rather than trying to win over the opinions of others? When we're misunderstood, the natural impulse is often to react. We want to crack the record, explain ourselves, and make sure others see things the way we do. This is where frustration and defensiveness often take hold. It feels like our identity is being attacked, and we may think that if we don't defend ourselves, others will think less of us. But this constant need to explain ourselves can become a cycle, one that only leads to more misunderstanding, frustration, and energy wasted. What Marcus Aurelius teaches us is that we are not obligated to win these battles of perception. We don't have to prove ourselves to others or get everyone to understand our every move. Instead, we are obligated to be true to who we are, to our principles, and to our sense of dignity. This means that in the face of misunderstanding, we can choose to respond with calm, clarity, and patience, rather than defensiveness. Think about it. How many times have you gotten caught up in the urge to explain yourself in a conversation where you felt misunderstood? How often have you spent time, energy, and mental resources on convincing others of something that, in the end, might not change their view anyway? This is a losing battle because, in the end, We cannot control others' perceptions or thoughts. We can only control our actions and responses. The Stoic approach to being misunderstood is not about silence or passivity, but about dignity. It's about knowing that your worth isn't defined by how others perceive you, and that you have nothing to prove. If we can accept that misunderstandings will happen, and that not everyone will see us clearly, we can free ourselves from the emotional weight of trying to change those perceptions. This doesn't mean you should become indifferent or uncaring. It means that you stand firm in your own truth, without the need for validation. When you respond with patience and composure, you don't just preserve your own peace of mind. You also demonstrate the strength that comes from being anchored in your own values, rather than being swayed by external opinions. Ask yourself, what would it look like to let go of the need to be understood by everyone? How can you maintain your sense of peace and dignity when others misinterpret your intentions? How can you stay true to yourself, regardless of how others react? The key lies in practicing self-awareness and self-trust. You know who you are, and that's enough. There is power in staying true to your convictions without needing to explain or justify them constantly. The Stoic approach to being misunderstood begins with a deep understanding of our own worth and the recognition that not everyone will see things from our perspective. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all offer wisdom on the importance of maintaining our inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. Stoicism invites us to embrace the idea that our value is not dependent on the approval or understanding of others. The Dichotomy of Control. One of the core Stoic principles is the dichotomy of control. This principle teaches us that there are two categories of things in life: those we can control and those we cannot. We can control our thoughts, actions, and responses, but we cannot control how others perceive us or how they react to our words. When we get caught up in trying to control how we're seen or understood, we waste energy on something that lies beyond our control. Instead, we should focus on what we can control: our own response to the misunderstanding. The next time you're misunderstood, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? The answer is your response, how you choose to react, and whether you allow yourself to be dragged into frustration or defensiveness. Let go of the desire to control others' perceptions and focus instead on remaining true to your principles. 2. Embrace the power of silence. When we feel misunderstood, our instinct is often to speak up, to explain ourselves, to defend our actions, but sometimes silence can be the most powerful response. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we don't have to win every conversation. We don't have to explain ourselves to every person who misunderstands us. In fact, constantly defending ourselves can be draining and counterproductive. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in being comfortable in our own skin, without needing external validation. The next time you feel misunderstood, take a pause before reacting. Consider, does this situation truly require an explanation? Sometimes, simply holding your ground in silence, without feeling the need to explain, can be a powerful statement of dignity. It shows that you are not dependent on others' approval to maintain your sense of self. 3. Practice detachment from external judgments. In a world that's increasingly driven by social media and external validation, it can be challenging not to be swayed by the opinions of others. Stoicism teaches us to practice detachment from external judgments and to focus on our own internal compass. Our worth is not determined by the opinions of others, nor by how they perceive our actions. When you are misunderstood, remind yourself that this misunderstanding does not define you. It's simply another person's perspective, and it is not your job to change it, as Epictetus wisely stated. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Our peace of mind depends on how we respond to external circumstances, not on the circumstances themselves. This doesn't mean you should become indifferent or cold. It means you can show compassion for others' misunderstanding without letting it disrupt your peace. You don't need to explain yourself every time. You can simply remain firm in your values and continue on your path without being swayed by every external opinion. For cultivate inner dignity. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches us that our true dignity comes from within. We don't need to prove ourselves to others because our worth is inherent. When we remain true to ourselves, when we act in accordance with our values, without seeking validation from others, we preserve our dignity, regardless of how we are understood. This doesn't mean we are immune to misunderstanding, nor does it mean we should avoid addressing situations where clarification is necessary. But Stoicism helps us to approach these situations with composure, knowing that our true worth is not contingent upon the opinions of others. Practical steps to stay calm when misunderstood. Pause before reacting. In moments of misunderstanding, take a deep breath before you respond. Ask yourself, what's in my control here? Focus on how you can respond with calm and dignity. Rather than with defensiveness, evaluate the importance of the situation, not every misunderstanding needs to be addressed. Sometimes, letting go is the best response. Ask yourself if this situation truly requires a response, or if it's better to let it go. Strengthen your self-awareness. The more grounded you are in your own values and sense of self, the less you'll be swayed by others' misunderstandings. Practice self-reflection and trust that staying true to your principles is enough. Seek understanding in your own way. If it's necessary to clarify something, do so calmly and with dignity. Be truthful, but don't feel the need to explain every detail or justify your actions to others. Stay true to your purpose and let your integrity speak for itself. By applying these Stoic principles, we begin to see that being misunderstood is not something to fear or avoid. It is simply a part of life. The key lies in how we handle these situations. We don't have to defend ourselves constantly or seek the approval of others. Instead, we can embrace our inner dignity, stay true to our values, and focus on what is within our control. In the end, being misunderstood is an inevitable part of life. Whether at work, in our personal relationships, or online, we all experience moments where our intentions, words, or actions are misinterpreted. But the Stoic perspective invites us to see these moments not as threats to our identity, but as opportunities to practice patience, self-trust, and dignity. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "I am not obliged to win, but I am obliged to be true." This simple yet powerful truth reminds us that we are not required to defend ourselves at every turn or convince everyone of our worth. Our true obligation is to remain true to our own values, to respond with dignity, and to let go of the need for external validation. By embracing the Stoic principles of the dichotomy of control, the power of silence, detachment from external judgments, and inner dignity, we can handle misunderstandings with greater calm and resilience. We can free ourselves from the emotional burden of trying to win over every person's opinion, and instead focus on staying true to our own path. The next time you're misunderstood, I encourage you to pause and reflect. What is in my control here? How can I respond with dignity without feeling the need to explain myself constantly? Trust that by staying true to who you are, you will always remain grounded, regardless of how others perceive you. Remember, you are not obligated to win. You are only obliged to be true. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic insights. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How do you stay calm when you feel misunderstood? Odd. Let's discuss how we can all apply these Stoic principles in our everyday lives.